Hello, I'm Rae Bridges.
And I'm Mitchell Lachlan. Today we are going to be talking about one of the classes of the feudal system of shogunate Japan.
Yes, we are. The feudal system of shogunate Japan is quite different to that of European culture, as the peasants, or farmers, are right at the bottom.
Absolutely true, Ray. The merchants and artisans are below them because they didn't provide essentials for the country. So are the hinin and eta, which are usually butchers and street cleaners, whose work is considered dirty. This means that their work gets them at night.
Exactly. The peasants were hard-working farmers that provided for their community.
They dress as simply as they can so that they don't overheat when they work in the fields. They would have worn cotton or hemp shirts and pants.
Even though the peasants weren't the lowest in the hierarchy, they weren't at the top either. Above them were the samurai, the daimyo, the emperor, and the shogun.
The samurai were the warriors, and they were under the control of their daimyo.
The daimyo each owned a region and were forbidden to leave it by the shogun. The daimyo and the samurai both owned land and employed peasants to work on it.
The emperor was basically just a figurehead and a religious leader. Even though everyone knew that the shogun was in charge, they still looked to the emperor.
And finally, the shogun. He was the big boss and he spoke for the emperor. Even though his control wasn't direct, he had a say in everything that happened in each region.
This meant that the peasants were indirectly controlled by the shogun.
Even though they were peasants and they didn't have much money, some of them owned and farmed their own piece of land.
That's right. These peasants, even though they were in the same class, were ranked ever so slightly higher than the others who didn't own their land.
This was because they could produce more and employ people to work their lands alongside them.
They didn't farm meats though. The rough land made it hard to keep cattle, so they farmed rice instead.
Rice was the staple food of the Japanese people and still is today. It was farmed with care and used daily.
So even though the peasants weren't the highest or the lowest in the shogunate Japanese feudal system, they played a very important part in the society.
They were accepted because they worked hard for the little money they earned, and they lived in simplicity instead of surrounded by riches and jewels.
I think we've learnt quite a lot today. That is all we have time for.
We'll see you next time when we go into more detail about samurai.
Thank you.
Thank you.